10 and the alphabet and whatever. Then it boils down to how you remember to arrange them to get a meaning of a word. And from there on, it seems to me like all of education turns around being able to remember what you read. Remember how to arrange the numbers and the letters and the formulas and whatever else. And from there on, what else is education?
Well, tell me something today, right now. If you were to take a ship out of New York Harbor and go by ship from New York Harbor to New Delhi, India, what major bodies of water would you have to go through? If you went east out of New York toward New Delhi, what all bodies of water? Now that used to be an 8th grade question.
You're going to get technical there because first of all, the follow-up on that question is going to be what route did you follow?
Well, if you take the shortest route from New York Harbor eastward to New Delhi, India, what major bodies of water would you have to go through?
Well, first of all, you'd be starting out in the Atlantic.
Right.
But if you wanted to go the long way and go around the Suez, through Suez and come back down.
Short way, you go around.
That's a short way. Yeah. Suez Canal would be a short way.
Would be the long way.
The long way would be Cape of Good Hope.
But now this,
but if you go to Suez, what body of water do you enter after the Atlantic Ocean?
You go to Red Sea.
you go through the Persian Gulf, I believe. I can't remember exactly what the Gulf is. You go through there whenever you come out of. First of all, you got to go through the Mediterranean, through Gibraltar and the Mediterranean down to Suez. And once you go out to Suez, I want to say it's the Gulf of. You done lost me then. I got lost.
Red Sea.
The Red Sea. Okay. And
the Gulf of Hormuz is over on the other side in the Persian Gulf.
Okay. Right, where we load all the oil or whatever.
Where the oil comes out.
If we want to really get technical now about this, it's going to all depend on what size ship you're taking to get through the Suez.
True. Let's say a rowboat.
A rowboat, okay. That'd be acceptable.
Amtrak.
Anyhow,
he takes Amtrak.
If we go back to education, in your all's opinion, how close is it to what I'm saying as far as to be able to remember things is the key to becoming what most people would consider it as educated? And I'm not so much on the definition of educated. I've tried to figure that out.
The thing that really bothers me is we're not creating intelligent citizens. You know, this phrase that's gotten real popular the last few years called low information voter, it seems as if our educational system
is educated. And I'm not so much on the definition of
created that intentionally. And that bothers me more than anything, that we got people that they don't know anything about the Bill of Rights. They don't know anything about the most important bills of rights. They can't name the 5 rights listed in the First Amendment of the Constitution. They can't tell you what Article 1, Article 2, and Article 3 is. In fact, they did a review of college students recently. They don't even know how many members are on the Supreme Court. Couldn't even name one.
Well, most of them could not even name a senator
from their own state.
They couldn't name one, period.
And that is horrifying. That is scary.
Right.
Because if we have a citizenry out here that cannot, I think we need to go back to giving tests before you're allowed to vote.
That's a good point. And the question should have to be probably situated around a lot of things that are pertinent to the place where you are taking a voting, considering local stuff. And the other side, let me show you an example of something that kind of embarrassed me. I'm partial to watching Jeopardy. I'm partial to it. And last night, watching Jeopardy, there was a question, and it was in the Bill of Rights, and what type of rights were all men created equal with. And you know that there was not one contestant that knew the answer to that, and that kind of embarrassed me. We're talking about people who passed the test to become contestants. One lady rang in and missed that, and
What are they?
unalienable rights. And
But
they missed it. That kind of
But
embarrassed
that's
me.
not in the 10 amendments.
I didn't know what to say the amendments. I said the Bill of Rights.
That's not in the Bill
It's
of
not
Rights.
Bill of Rights either. Maybe I've got it wrong.
Bill of Rights are the, Bill of Rights are the
Declaration of
first 10
Independence.
amendments of the
It's
Constitution.
in the Declaration of
I
Independence.
stand
That's in the Declaration of Independence.
I
Did
stand
you know
corrected.
we've got, since the
Let's see.
first 10 amendments of Bill of Rights, there's been something like 18 or 19 more amendments since then, but only 3 have anything to do with rights. And those are called the Civil War amendments.
Those are amendments to the
That were
Constitution.
passed, yeah, that were passed right after the Civil War, and they had to do with the abolition of slavery and civil rights and giving people a right to vote,
Right.
which everybody conveniently ignores till 1964 when all the Democrats
Right.
voted against the new civil rights
Sure they
legislation.
did, and you know, of course, Abraham Lincoln pulled of Obama, because he freed the slaves by proclamation.
And he admitted himself that he freed the slaves where he had no jurisdiction
No
or
constitutional right.
no constitutional right or jurisdiction or authority, and did not free them where he had the authority to free them.
Right.
And
He
did you
only
know
freed 'em in the South.
the first Republican candidate for president, 1856, was an explorer, John C. Fremont. And he was a socialist. His father-in-law was a socialist. His wife was a socialist. And he was given a generalship at the outbreak of the Civil War and was put in charge of the western frontier, which had to do with Missouri. The first thing he did was declared all the slaves free, and Lincoln fired him for it. So you tell me Lincoln was in favor of, but anyway, back to education.
Go ahead. Or do
Yeah,
you want me to
we're-
make another comment?
Yeah, we're talking about education and what we need to do to hopefully maybe get it straightened out.
Well,
Go ahead.
our country is rich in heritage, and it's rich in tradition, and it's rich in cultural things that, you know, what in the world has the rapper 50 Cent got to do with how you live your life? You know, he's one of the better ones, okay? You know, you can give kids tests on pop culture, and they do fine. Like I say, they can.
Some do fine.
Well, some do fine. Those that don't usually are the educated ones.
But knowledge about our heritage and background and why America was founded, what the people thought who first came over here, what they were looking for, all that's being totally ignored by our educational department.
They water it down too when it is taught.
They're teaching now that Second Amendment only gives you the right to carry a gun if you go get a permit, or to own a gun or to carry one if you go and get permission. And that's not what it says at all.
Also, you have to pay a fee.
You know, yeah, this common core thing is really changing everything toward the left, the interest of the left wing, socialist, progressive, liberals, and it's not doing a thing for traditional education or knowledge. And a lot of states, you know, have blocked common core. Indiana, Georgia, I think there's like 12 states that's already blocked
I
it.
thought it was up to 17.
Is it up to 17?
I think
Okay,
so.
you've read something more recent than I have.
Yeah.
Tennessee has not blocked it yet.
Yeah. Well, we're getting a lot of flack from the left wing about our efforts to oppose it.
Well, they love it because it changes the meanings of everything. It's like Mr. Henson there once told me that government, if they can change the meaning of words, they change the meaning of everything. Like the meaning of marriage.
That's correct. If you can take any word, I don't care what it is, and you can change the meaning of it, you can really screw up the works of everything. And that is one of the key words that everybody's familiar with, and how the meaning of the word marriage has been changed.
Yeah.
When it comes back to education, in our education system, we say such things as No Child Left Behind and all sorts of other programs. But what you're doing, and I've seen this done considerable, is we're dumbing our society down to the lowest common denominator. Whenever they say no child left behind and that everybody has to work up there or whatever, you take a guy like myself who couldn't read and write his name before he's in the 3rd grade, if you hold all the other students back to my level, look where they're going to be at. Why not have the system, and surely we can figure out a way to where those who are motivated and want to go on faster can learn quicker. So some people have the ability to really pick up and learn fast. Why not let these students go on? Let them, why should they have to be held back for any reason? Because there's one, like I'm going to say myself, that couldn't keep up. Why should the others be held back?
Exactly. And with today's technology, there's no reason we should be warehousing children and sticking them in a class, 25 or 30 in a classroom, and teaching them all at the same speed and same level. With today's technology, just like you have said, every student could have an individualized curriculum, and he could go as fast as he wanted to go. If he could finish 12 years of school in 3, he could do it. And that's the way,
That would've been nice.
that's the way it ought to be.
Well,
Instead of this lockstep marching through 12 grades, and only unless you score super high on some kind of a test that they have, will you be permitted to advance.
Can I say something?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The floor-
You
the floor
guys are
recognizes
worried
you.
about changing the meaning of words, and although I don't disagree with that at all, one of the biggest dangers we've got is forbidden words. It's not politically correct to say so many things now that we've got really intelligent people that are afraid to say anything, afraid they'll step on somebody's toes because all these people pretend to be offended. I'll mention I was talking about Mexican food here one time, and I mentioned negro frijoles. And this woman called in and said she was offended because I'd used the word negro. I said, lady, it's on the can of beans, and I brought one the next week and showed her. I mean, these people, now I don't think she was at all offended, she just saw an opportunity to complain.
yeah, to say so.
Yeah, but now, if you're gonna go around and limit speech to only what you wanna hear, not only you're gonna be dumb, you're gonna be enslaved right soon.
Just
I
like
think that's true.
the left, for some reason, and I still haven't figured this out, are trying to outlaw the word bossy. And they've got the Girl Scouts involved in this project to get rid of the word bossy. And I cannot understand. Now, it came out of the White House. I think it came out of Michelle Obama's dictation, and they've got the Girl Scouts and a whole bunch of leftists, Hollywood leftists and people, trying to outlaw the word bossy. Now what could be the motive behind that idiocy? I don't even see where the word bossy carries any negative
They're saying
connotation.
people put so much emphasis on civil liberties in the First Amendment, but you're not allowed to say anything they don't approve of.
Let
Exactly.
me expand on what the word you used, Negro. I believe the definition of Negro is a word that defines a race. if I'm not mistaken.
It also means black in Spanish.
Okay, I didn't
He was
go with the
using the
Spanish
word, the
interpretation
Spanish word,
or definition.
negro, which is Negra.
No,
No,
if
that's
you
a
read,
G-
it's pronounced that way, but I brought a can of beans up here, said Negro,
Right.
free holies.
Right.
Okay,
Negro,
That's the way it's
okay,
spelled.
okay.
Which
But
means
now it's-
black beans.
Yeah, but it's pronounced properly as Negra if you happen to be Spanish. But being an old country boy, I mean, I read what I see.
Right.
And I don't mean to offend anybody, and ain't a thing in the world wrong with what I said.
Right.
You know, they had some,
But you're right, it's Spanish for black.
they had some guy who, he was working in some city job somewhere. He was a city, I don't even know where he's at, but anyway, it's been a few years ago. He used the word niggardly in a conversation. And some guy there was up in arms, somebody was offended, and he
I
almost
remember that.
he almost lost his job.
Some
Because
black
this
got
idiot
upset.
didn't know what that meant.
Didn't know the definition of niggardly, yeah.
okay, if we expand on what you're.
I guess we'll be kicked, we won't be back next
Yeah, we'll
week,
get
but
thrown out. If we cannot use the word Negro, and it's used, like I say, as
you mean.
a race, as to define a race, then can we use Hispanic, Caucasian, Native Indian, or any of the
You ain't
other
calling
words?
me no
Native Indian, you
Caucasian.
mean in subcontinent, is that what you're
Well,
talking
can
about,
we
Native
use-
Indian, or you talking about Native American?
Well, Native American.
Okay.
Okay, can we use any of those words?
I think
Because,
that if we keep cutting words out pretty soon, we won't be able to have a conversation that makes any sense.
okay, these words also are defined as races, because every month when I go to fill out something, it asks you all these things. But then, why do they use color? They use black, white, and I don't see why they don't use yellow, green, and red instead of Native American.
I'm still worried about the, United Negro College Fund and the NAACP. I mean, and I also can't figure out Miss Black America.
What do you
Look,
call-
I love everybody, I ain't got, I mean, what
What
care
do you
what color you
call it,
are.
the United Negro College Fund?
Oh, yeah.
Well, now, what it was when, what's the one that died that was so rich,
It did what?
the entertainer that died that was so rich, he tried to make his skin white.
Oh, Michael Jackson?
Michael Jackson. You know, when Michael Jackson was on TV set, you know, he wore all that hairspray on his hair.
Yeah.
His hair actually caught fire.
Yeah.
On
During a
that set
Pepsi
one
commercial.
time, and that's where they started the Ignited Negro College Fund.
Look, folks, that's BOBANDREWS, and we got something else we gotta do here, just hang on, people, I'm gonna get away from that for just a minute here, let me see if I can get this thing
You
out.
got that.
Okay, if you got something to say, wait till the commercial's over, Bob.
Yeah, folks, we're down at Vital Care here in La Polly. It's an enterprise started by John Vaughn, a man that's got over, I think, 40 years experience in the ambulance business, and we just felt like it was well worthy of your time, their time, and our time to let you know something about this operation that they have going here. As you well know from previous words that I've said, that I have some actual experience with Vital Care, and so if you need to know some first-hand information about it, you can call me. But this is John Bond, and John, we'd like to welcome you to the Two Hub TV tonight. You know, we've been doing your commercials for a pretty good while, but we've never interviewed you.
That's right.
And we felt like it was just about time to let you spread some of your wisdom on these other people.
Well, we've been in business here for 75 years. I've had 40 years experience in ambulance service. We have a Class A ambulance service with a good group of employees, 22, I believe, active employees, 22 employees that we pay for all on our own.
Well, those are not paid from taxpayer money.
Not No, we,
And how much taxpayer money goes into this operation?
absolutely nothing.
Nothing. This is a self-sustaining operation.
That's correct.
Right. Well, let me ask you something. You know, we have an incubator program going here. Have you received any incubator funds?
I've not been notified that I'm due any,
Right. No, they haven't notified you that you're gonna get any.
and I don't look forward to it.
Right, okay.
We do all kinds of ambulance service. We're graded by the state as a Class A service. We can haul any kind of patients, we can go anywhere. We do a lot of non-emergency transports. We're the only service in Campbell County that has a ventilator, transport ventilator, that we can move patients that are on a ventilator out of the hospital to another hospital. We appreciate the opportunity to serve each and every one of our patients. We have some people that won't call anyone but us. If they ever call us once, they'll call again. But we love each and every one of our patients, and they seem to reciprocate and love us as well.
5629370, is that who you called?
That's Vital Care, and I guarantee you, you got a problem, call them. They'll get you to where you need to go in the most efficient, safest, and the tenderest manner they can. Even if you do drink some of the old rotten matter juice.
I noticed that headline on that newspaper there, you ain't circling about cows and stuff, are you?
Oh, yeah, the feds target methane emissions, and you talk about double talk. There's a lot of double talk in here.
You know, that if they're gonna go after cows, they need to go after politicians. We get more hot gas coming out of both ends of politicians than we ever get out of the cow.
What about that fella down there on Sawmill Holler's got all that gas?
Yeah, stored
We'll
gas.
get around to him
Yeah,
for a
we'll get
minute.
around to
We
him.
don't wanna bust them all at the same time.
Let's,
The,
no, let's not use him in
the,
a context of outlawing gas.
the White House in this
No,
article,
we don't outlaw diggers, guys.
No, we don't wanna, we need his gas.
they do mention cattle and, landfills and whatever else as far as methane is concerned, but their main, focus, it appears to be, is on well drilling.
That's what I figured.
Yeah, it's on oil drilling, and, according to this article, there's considerable gas being lost, especially up in North Dakota and places
Yeah.
like that. But yet they state that this, by the EPA invoking new rules on drilling as far as seals and you name it, whatever else, that they can cut down on the greenhouse gases.
Yeah.
But it states here that this thing will be very cost effective and whatever, and that they're losing untold millions of dollars worth of raw gas that's getting away that they're not using. In the drilling industry, in the oil industry, if they're losing millions and millions of dollars, they're going to figure out the way themselves to put in a better seal or capture this. Where the EPA, in my opinion, is going to do, they're going to put a monitor on this, a sniffer. And if they sniff gas, then they're going to find somebody. You see what I'm saying? That's where the millions of dollars are going to come in from.
Well, that's
If-
just common sense. They figured out how to get that gas out. They're gonna figure out how not to waste it too.
Absolutely. But anyhow, this article is, the papers are full of stuff that's double talk, where they say one thing, but if you look a little deeper, it makes no sense whatsoever. The only thing it's going to do is give the EPA is going to write the rules on it, investigate it, and whatever else. We'll see, I guess, if they're going to enact this thing, and they put a few ifs in there, by the year 2016 to have it in place. Now, a lot of your, well, I guess all your refineries, oil refineries, do a burn off on some gas. They have a, I can't think of a name that they use for this gas. If it were financially feasible, they would be capturing that gas rather than burning it off. And the same way of, like on the landfills, they were burning it down here at Raccoon Valley, or Chestnut Stump, is that what they call that?
Chestnut Ridge.
Chestnut Ridge. And I noticed, I don't know whether they're still running that thing or not.
I don't see it burning at night.
You smell it when you go by.
What?
You can smell the gas?
Yeah.
That's unusual.
I don't mean, what I mean, you smell the burned gas.
Oh, the burnt gas, okay, I follow you there, because methane actually has no smell, or shouldn't have.
But you know what, I tell you what it smells like. It smelled like, when I was in grade school, we used to get milk in these here paper cartons, it wasn't fit to drink. And, well, they just come once a week. And it's paraffin, and you had to
Right.
strain it through your teeth to get the paraffin out, so you drink the milk and fit the, well, anyway, they'd
Yeah.
burn those milk cartons to start a fire with in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And it smelled just like that methane burning over there.
Mhm. Well, anyhow, gentlemen, I think it's interesting, the things that you read in the paper. It's,
They've already put the coal business out, and now they're working on the methane people.
And folks, you can thank a Republican by the name of Richard Milhouse Nixon
That's correct.
for this Environmental Protection Agency,
Right.
one of the worst,
Yeah.
most tyrannical government agencies
He
devised since the IRS was
also
invented.
made me a Democrat for 10 years.
Sure.
Jimmy
Yeah.
Carter weaned me.
Jimmy Carter weaned you
Yeah, but
from
you
it.
know, Jimmy Carter done some good things. He started the deregulation thing and really got the thing up and running, and Reagan come through and finished it up. You know, he deregulated transportation, he
I thought
deregulated.
Jimmy Carter gave us price control. Well, no.
No, that was
Nixon.
Richard
That
Nixon.
was Nixon that gave us price
He
control.
deregulated the transportation, he deregulated
Peanut industry.
telephone, yeah, peanut industry.
A lot
Really,
of
he did.
A lot of the problems Jimmy Carter experienced were financial problems that went back to the guns and butter time of Richard
He
Nixon
also
and
had the
Lyndon
shortages,
Johnson.
he also had the shortages brought on by the price and wage controls that Nixon
the
started.
Nixon-
Well,
Yes,
the
yeah.
OPEC came into forefront then and put the squeeze on everybody and created artificial shortages of energy.
Well, now, we had artificial shortages of everything under Nixon, because he wouldn't let wages or prices rise. And
Right.
you remember, there's a guy come in there one day talking about where I was at, talking about a shortage of dirt. My daddy said, there's as much dirt now as there's always been. In fact, there's more every day. They claim to falling in from outer space.
Poor old Jimmy Carter was trained in nuclear submarines, and
But they kept him down there too long without air.
That's what it was.
and if he had nuked a few people out there somewhere, he would have been considered a
He
hero.
didn't learn much about helicopters, because he couldn't get one to fly.
Couldn't
while
get
he was
one to
there.
fly.
Well, not across the desert anyhow. Well, you know, I'm gonna, you kinda getting, we ramble here, and I think that's good, because I can't keep my mind on one subject very long anyhow. But, in the situation we got in the world nowadays, I think the analogy that I heard the other day about Russia and Russia's takeover of the Ukraine, that, when Mike Tyson, walks down the street, don't nobody pick a fight with him. But if you walk down the street and you're a whip, everybody's gonna hit on
You
you.
mean like them 98-pound weaklings,
Yeah, like
beats,
them
and
Charles,
atlas
that's
took
Charles
care
at
of?
last, yeah.
Yeah.
do we have calls? I see 2 red buttons. Does that mean we have a call?
No,
It
I don't
doesn't?
know.
Okay.
I don't know how it works.
no.
Okay.
That'd be 562-3557
Right.
or 566-1450, folks.
I wanna interject one thing here, you know, I made a little, joke a while ago that, I may have.
I think that was a comedian that set himself on fire trying to
Richard Pryor.
do
It
those
was Richard
drugs that
It
you
was
had to
Richard-
burn.
It was Richard Pryor was who it was.
And
He said
he
his
did the
cigarette
worst.
lighter-
Yeah.
He said his cigarette lighter
Yeah,
exploded.
And the worst thing he could do, he did the worst thing you could do if you catch on fire, and that's run full speed down the street.
That was Richard Pryor that did that, but.
Michael Jackson got caught on fire in a Pepsi commercial.
When I tell jokes and things like that, it does not bother me a bit. My grandmother, my great-grandmother was, Black Dutch. On one side, my great-grandmother owned The other side was full-blooded Cherokee. I've got some Native American on my maternal side. Also, I was raised in a mixed family. We'd taken a black kid into our family, and he was just part of our family, because he had nowhere else to live. It didn't make no difference what color he was.
Are you saying you can't offend yourself,
Well,
Bob?
it's kinda hard for me to defend myself, cause I'm just as much a part of the joke as I am, as anybody is. So, I wanted to make that plain, and also,
Well, I'm not, one of these that gets offended over, being called a cracker, or a southern cracker, or a hillbilly.
How about a honky?
Honky, it doesn't bother me a bit, I fit right in. And, you know, I don't see that much evil in language that they now say is racist. People taking pride in their own race, to me, is not racism. But if a white does it, they accuse him of being a racist.
Well,
He
that's
takes
back to
pride in
language
his own-
control to control
Back to
people.
language and thought control, yes, sir.
that's exactly what it is.
You really opened up the can of worms there. What are we gonna do? Have different languages for different races? That
Yeah,
different
first
races can
one
use
for,
different words?
one
Well,
for
now
Spanish, and two for German, and three for English.
Well,
Push the button.
they were pushing the education system to incorporate, modern words which have been incorporated into our system somewhat. All right, let's see what we got.
Okay,
Somebody
see who we
didn't-
offended here.
Somebody didn't like what we were saying. Hey, Wild Bill and Ronnie.
Yeah, I'd like to say something. The thing about it is, everybody's too picky about everything. If everything don't go their way, they're going out of whack. They don't know how to act. But now, you know, it's just like these people, they take their kids, they have a baby and say, oh, just take that to the hospital and drop it off there. Well, it ain't like it was when I raised my kid, you know, and then everybody wants to be racist and everything. I don't understand it today, you know, but y'all guys have a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you for the call, and you made a very good point in that today people do seem to get too offended over things that shouldn't really bother them. But they pretend to be offended, I think, to exact a change on your part, not on their part.
I think that's very true, yeah.
Like them there Negro frijoles.
Well, you know, it's kinda like, what they do, it's
I
kinda like.
thought she was offended about the frijoles, because I thought that sounded dirty myself.
If you,
I've known
I
a few
don't know,
frijoles
that
in my
sounds- That
time.
sounds kinda
It
inviting.
turned out not to be so free, didn't it?
Hey, that sounded kinda inviting,
What?
the Frijoles.
Yeah, I know. That's what I thought had her offended, and turned out it was that other word.
But, you know, people,
That maybe I didn't sell it her profession or something, you never know.
That's right.
people play like they're offended, you know, when they're really not, you know, and they're just looking for something to get riled up about.
They want you to make a change to suit them.
Well, I find Bob to be very fancy, but there's one thing I don't find offensive. That's Digger Wilson, 562. 5444. Let's see, where is that? Here, Digger. Tell him, Digger. Here it comes.
Von Digger Wilson. Been here off and on for over 30 years in the same spot. Pumping propane, doing repairs on containers, heaters. I'm the only one in the county that'll do you a repair on your tanks if you need it. I sell propane gas, liquid propane, and I've got plenty of competitors, and I can easily compete with them. That's grills, backup heat, substitute heat, grills, campers, motorhomes, you name it, and if it's comes in through that door, I can take care of it. I'm here Tuesday through Friday, 8 to
Ronnie, we need, in, honor of, Cliff Jennings's proposed tax on all signs in Campbell County, we need to play our tax the sign song.
I think that what they should do is just tax campaign signs. That's what, you wanna hear signs, let me see if I can pull it up here, I might be able to get that.
In honor of Cliff Jennings,
I bet this is
folks.
gonna be good.
Was you not here when I played it last week?
Yeah, you were here, you heard it.
Yeah.
Tax the sign song, sign
But see-
everywhere.
See, this gets back to education and being able to remember exactly.
I wanna say something while I'm getting this thing pulled up here. You folks out there listen to me now, I mean, there's a whole lot of food shows on here. Let me tell you what's gonna happen in August. First off, we're gonna have a reappraisal this year. And what they're gonna do, they're gonna reappraise the property, and when they do that, they automatically have to, reset the tax rate. And we're gonna have 15 people down there are gonna decide how the best way to wheedle as much more money out of us as they can and disguise it in that reappraisal. You better be looking at who you're voting for this coming August, or you're gonna be took to the cleaners. That's a fact of the matter.
Very
What-
true.
What
I
it
believe
boils-
that.
What it boils down to is revenue is coming up short.
And the sign said, long-haired freaky people need not a
Go ahead.
What about Ronnie? Hey! Well, all that one, there wasn't nobody there anyway.
lie. So I tucked my hair up under my hat and I went in to ask him why. He said, you look like a fine, upstanding young man, I think you do. So I took off my hat and said, imagine that, me working for you. Sign, everywhere I sign, looking at the scenery, breaking my mind.
Let him be on hold.
What about Ronnie?
Hey,
Hey!
what's happening?
Oh, we're just up here flapping our lips.
You are?
Having a ball.
Yeah, having a ball, huh? Yeah, who you guys vote for?
What?
Who are you voting for,
Who's-
Bob?
Who's running?
Who's running?
Well, that mayor's race, who you gonna vote for?
Who all's running?
Who all's running?
You don't know?
No,
No.
you?
Why, yeah.
Name them
Well,
all.
tell us.
Why you got William Beard,
Okay, who else? We don't wanna vote for him.
Jack Lynch?
Jack Lynch.
Yeah.
Who else?
You got, that Cole guy.
Fred.
Fred Cole.
Cole.
We don't have to worry about him. We don't have to worry about him. Obama's already got rid of all the coal.
What we have is an open invitation to either one of those candidates to come up here and convince
But
us.
all of them can come up here and convince the people to vote for him.
What about Morton or what?
Yeah, there's a Morton running.
Is there, what's his name? E.L.
E.L.
Morton?
Mhm.
E.L. Morton?
Yeah.
Do you know about him?
No, I don't.
We'd like for him to come up here and
Now, who
talk
are
to
you
the
gonna
people.
vote for?
Yeah, who you gonna vote for?
I'm gonna vote for Jack Lynch.
Well, I don't know him. Tell him to come up here and we put him on the
Yeah,
radio.
we'll put him on the radio and put him on the internet.
He'd be worldwide publicity.
Yeah.
Of course, they
Yeah.
can't vote in Indonesia.
Free worldwide publicity. I don't know, the way Obama ran last time, I believe Indonesia did vote in that
They
election.
may have.
I
They lost a bunch of
appreciate
voters,
you.
they can't find them, they're in the ocean somewhere.
Thanks for calling.
All righty, buddy.
Thank you.
See ya.
Good luck with you and Jack.
Yes, don't do that. Can't you read the sign? And the sign said, anybody caught trespassing would be shot on sight. So I jumped on the fence and I yelled at the house, hey, wipe
They
your
need
shoes
that down the library,
right.
don't they?
To put up a
That
fence
answer.
to keep me out, but to keep Mother Nature in. Ha! We've got here. They tell you to your face, man, you're some kind of sinner.
What about money?
Hey, did you believe picking up steaks?
A what?
Did you believe picking up rare steaks?
Do you believe in picking them up?
Yeah. Do you believe in picking them up?
Well, now,
Picking up what?
rattlesnakes.
Rare steaks.
Rattlesnakes.
Well,
Now, I know a church does that, but, I'm not calling no names, but I went to his church, but, anyway, do you believe in picking up steaks?
It depends on where we're at.
Right.
Well, out in the woods, I think, but that
I
doesn't
believe in letting them alone if they're out in the woods. If I had one after my young, and I'd probably take a chance on grabbing it, but everything else, I'd probably do some running.
Doing some run.
Do you believe in
Oh,
picking
you
them up?
pick them up just like that?
I ain't picking up nothing that ain't bothering me.
If I see one hitchhiking, I ain't picking him up.
You're not gonna pick no snakes up.
I picked that first.
Well, I'm not afraid of him pick one up. Easy enough. She's not surprised to pick up one.
Well, I've picked up a few of them, but the thing of it is, the spirit had pretty much left them.
Yeah, they're all right,
And
ain't they?
They were on their way to the cooking pot.
Yeah. All right, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We might just make that our new thing song. Anything is better than what we got. Huh?
Speaking of signs, they got a sign down in our public library in La Follette. No poo-poo here.
Yeah, we got the only library in the country, got a porta potty out back.
We got a local library, we spent hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars to make it look like a library, and you can't use the bathroom for a number one.
No, that's cause Al had so much influence, he got one of his, porta-johns.
Well, I
You
wanna
gotta go
say, I wanna say that's just a fine example of government planning along with the codes department, it seems to be infallible.
Well,
That's right.
You have to get an ASTEP license to quit this.
And the sign said, everybody welcome, come and kneel down and pray. For when they passed round the plate at the end of it all, I didn't have a penny to pay. So I got me a pen and a paper, and I made up my own little sign.
I wish you folks could see these signs.
Thinking about me, I'm alive.
what about Marty?
Yeah, I'd like to know how Stan Faust become a dog catcher and he went into code inspector. How'd that happen?
Connections.
I believe that's called city council and whatever, I believe.
That'd be about like running for sheriff, wouldn't it? As long as I pay you enough money, you're gonna get in, as long as I pay out enough money, you're gonna get in there.
There ain't always money.
Well, there's a will, there's a way.
You know, money is one thing, but
There's something
everything,
to the color of your nose
yeah,
sometimes.
favors and whatever, if you could put a price on them, there's a value in who does who a favor and what gets a favor and all this other stuff. And the benefits are not, so many of the benefits are hidden that you don't ever see from being in a position. And that's what nobody ever talks about, is all the benefits.
That's correct. Thank you.
Sign, sign, everywhere a sign. Looking at the scenery, breaking my mind. Do this, don't do that. Can't you read the sign? Sign, sign, everywhere a sign.
This is for Cliff Jennings.
Sign, sign, everywhere a sign. Sign, sign, everywhere a sign.
We're gonna test these signs, folks.
Do this, don't do that. Can't you read the sign?
I think we'll do that again.
Oh, that is out of this world. I wish you people could see these signs.
Right.
They, I tell you what, folks, we We got a guy running for, county commission from the 3rd district that's gonna tax every sign in this county by the square inch.
You know, I haven't heard much from him since he made this comment. I haven't seen him on any other show. I haven't heard from him.
He was supposed to be on, was it Ariel Gibson?
I think so, but I don't believe he showed up.
He
I
didn't
don't
show
believe.
up, and I think he was gonna show up on, Jerry Chadwell's, and he didn't show up there either. So-
This person, I keep wanting to say ex-mayor, but I would love to have just to have a question and answer thing, especially digging in to traffic light cameras.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
man,
and the $12.50 tax on
On
your
your
dog,
dog.
and if you didn't pay it, they'd come get your dog,
And hold him ransom.
hold him ransom for $100. If you didn't pay that, they put him to death,
Executed.
execute him.
But there was a question raised if you'd allow the owners to witness the execution, and I don't think that went over too good.
I know who asked.
I know who asked.
And the sign said, long hair freaky people
It's
need
a
not
tribute
abide.
to,
Big
So I
Dick
tucked
kind of
my
way.
hair
Tribute.
under my hat, and I went in to ask him why. He said, you look like a fine, upstanding young man. I think you
Bridge
do."
out, open the local
So I
traffic.
took off my hat and said, imagine that. Me working
Don't drink and drive.
sign everywhere I
Parking and
sign.
driving.
Looking at the scenery, breaking my mind. Do this, don't do that. Can't you read the sign?
Caution, this sign has sharp edges.
didn't put it up, that's who read the sign.
And the sign said, anybody caught trespassing. will be
Entrance
shown
only,
on
do not enter.
So
Oh, that's a
you
library
just-
sign right there. See that?
That's our library sign, yes, sir.
Gentlemen, let me change the subject.
Yeah,
on
go
something.
ahead, we need to
Okay.
change.
There's a bill going through the state now, and it looks like it's gonna go up to the governor to sign.
Yeah.
And this bill is going to allow anyone to be, anyone who is going to be annexed, before they can be annexed into a city, there must be a referendum first to allow those who are those who are involved.
Why?
Whoever's in the,
It's not a general vote, just the ones that are involved.
right, just the ones that
How
are
do we
involved.
secede? I wanna do all.
This Tennessee is one of the very few states right now that the city can just say, hey, we want that property out there, we're gonna take it.
Yeah, I know, they've
Yeah,
done that to us.
Well, they done that to us.
I
We
know.
fought it
It's
in
the
14
same
different
us,
ways.
isn't it?
Yeah, we fought it every way on the sun. And,
Who's behind this bill?
gentleman from down in Etowah.
We need to
You-
get him,
Ed
We
Watt.
need to get his name and address and
get
everything.
him on the
And
radio.
we need to get him on the radio, and we need to, like Ron said, see if we can get a bill through where we can succeed from a
Well, what
municipality.
happened to that woman in Florida? You hear from her yet?
No, Robin Stenosis?
I can't remember her last name.
You talk about a bunch of hypocritical.
Did you
ways
look
of doing
her
things.
up?
Yeah, I did. I saw that
They
situation.
use the international building codes to invoke a fine on this woman because she cut off her local electricity, her local water, went totally independent, and they used the international building codes to fine
To
her,
evict her first. They
to evict her out of her
out
home
of her home.
for trying to get off the grid, is
Right.
what they call
She
it.
had solar panels, she collected her water, you name it, whatever.
They sent her a $32,000 sewer bill.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
That's a lot of sewage, man.
if, this is something that I have,
We're getting there.
We're getting right up out of the
We're
library
getting,
now.
our water company is charging more than,
Yeah, that's
for
right.
sewage than they are for water now.
if this country really wants to be green, it's like that lady there. She should be commended on the effort she did to go green. And I have thought considerable on this thing to where that each individual household out here would be a standalone, to where it could produce its own electricity.
Back in the 40s, everybody was gonna have their own little nuclear reactor in the basement, whatever that was
Well,
at.
Yeah, that's not happening. And nuclear is a big subject right now. we could talk on nuclear for a long time. As a matter of fact,
We just got 2 minutes.
Yeah, we
so
just got
talk
2
all you
minutes,
want
so-
to,
no, that's
guys.
okay.
Talk.
Folks, this is your anti-radio program. We don't care what subject you want to discuss, we'll be against it. We gotta get some politicians in here so we can be
I don't know
against
what
them.
time they're gonna cut us off, but when they get ready, we'll done be gone. We'll see you Tuesday night if you, no, we may not
No,
be
we
on
gotta-
Tuesday night. We're gonna go to a convention.
We're not on the town, huh?
If
If we're interested.
I don't know.
Folks, we love you, folks, and thank you for listening, tuning in and calling.
Now, I'd be real careful because you don't turn it back over right now, we're all.
He might have cut us off an hour ago.
You know, that, little shindig we're going to might be illegal.
That's illegal, buddy.
Hey, FEMA might surround the place and we all get hit, took out by a SWAT team.
Well,
Well, heard you right. Ain't run a crowd like this.
yep.
Oh, where are we gonna meet Tuesday?
Well, I don't
What
know.
time?
We need to all coordinate Tuesday. I've got, tickets. There's just 2 postcards I did. One got,
How many is gonna be riding from here?
as far as I know, unless you take somebody, or Bob's taking somebody, or Hint's taking somebody, gonna be a grand total of 4 if I go.
Ain't nobody will go nowhere with me.
What about you, Bob? You got a hot date?
What?
You could line up hot dates for all of us. Well, not him, he's married.
And the hot days I had probably could have took care of all for him.
Really? We got that one on the internet, folks.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we're still on the internet.
Hey, Bob, you heard about, Calipari only dressed out 7 Kentucky players last night, didn't you?
You know, I did,
I don't know who that is.
The others learned how to dress themselves.